Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Way of the Four Elements monk build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. Now this is one of the lesser popular versions of the monk build, but it can still be very powerful, and I'm going to get into why. Now the monk is actually one of, I think, the most underrated classes in Baldur's Gate 3. So with this, what we get is the Flurry of Blows, which as we level up, this is going to get incredibly powerful. This is a bonus action, uses a chi point, and it does 8 to 14 damage at very base level, but we're going to get a lot higher into this. Now, we also get on armor defense, so we add our wisdom modifier to our armor class. Dexterous attacks, you use your dexterity or your strength, whatever's higher between the two stats. The best way to go about doing this is using the strength potion, so we can comfortably drop our dex a little bit lower here and focus primarily on wisdom. And if you have the Constitution, Greater Amulet of Constitution, we also focus less on Constitution. Attacks with monk weapons deal an additional 1 to 4 bludgeoning damage, so that's really nice. And then for our ability score, now we're going to dump strength and use strength potions. You can get strength potions really easily in the early game. I would recommend going with that or having your dexterity high, but I think that having our wisdom as our strongest stat is going to be very beneficial to us. We can drop our intelligence, charisma, and put up our constitution to roughly like 16. So something like that would be optimal. We want to have a nice even number for constitution just to get higher health because we aren't wearing armor, but wisdom's going to be increasing our armor class, so we want to have that as high as we possibly can get it. And we're going to be using strength potions so that we don't have to worry too much about our dexterity, which it says is our main stat, but as you can see here, your weapons will scale with dexterity instead of your strength if dexterity is higher, but since our strength is going to be maxed out here, and we're going to get into how this can get pretty crazy, because using the strength potions in Tavern Brawler, this build gets incredibly powerful. So as we get into the leveling, I'll get into the gear at the end of this, because the gear does make this build really crazy powerful. So at level 2 we get another G point on our movement, so movement speed increases 3 meters when you're not wearing armor. We get patient defense. Attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and you have advantage against dexterity saving throws. That can be a bonus action. Step of the Wind, double your movement speed. Jump no longer requires a bonus action or disengage. So nice to have those just there for our level 2. But as we get into the next level here, this is where we get into it already selected, the Way of the Four Elements. So we do get some spells. This is very interesting. Way of the Open Hand is, I think, my favorite monk build, but this can also be pretty useful too. We get our Fairy Fire for being a drow, and then we get to pick 3 Disciples of Elements, and then we also get Harmony of Water and Fire. While not in combat, regain half your chi points, rounded down. So that's pretty nice just to have, because you don't get that with the Way of the Open Hand, so just a way to be able to recover chi is really nice. Then we get ourselves some special spells here that not other classes, they're similar to other spells, but it's unique to this one. So Blade of Rime is like ice knife. Fangs of the Fire Snake, I really like. Hit your foe from afar. Your next melee attacks deal additional 1d8 or 1d4 fire damage. Way of Fist of Four Thunders can be really nice just for that pushback effect as well. Fist of Unbroken Air, push back the target 6 meters and knock it prone. That's kind of like same thing as that, but a little bit better. We also get Rush of the Gale Spirit, so that's the same as Windy Gust. Shaping the Ice, create a climbable ice cube. This is can be very useful. Sphere of Elemental Balance. That's a 2-key option. We also get the Flaming Hands there, Shocking Grasp, and Water Whip. So possibly pull the target towards you or knock it prone. I like Fangs of the Fire Snake just to add the fire damage there. Chromatic Orb or Sphere of the Elemental Balance can be pretty nice because you can choose your type of damage. So this can be useful if you know how to set it up properly. Shaping of the Ice can be pretty nice though, because you can create an ice cube and then use that for a variety of different things. But we're gonna go with either that or Sphere of Elemental Balance. So yeah, one of those 3, and then we'll get into our next level. So this build actually gets pretty crazy. We're gonna get ourselves a feat here. You can replace spells if you decide you don't want one of these. You can do it at level up, which is nice. So that's pretty great that it has that ability to change out your spells alongside it. Now, what makes this build crazy is Tavern Brawler. This is what makes all monks crazy strong. So what Tavern Brawler does is when you make an unarmed attack, use an improvised weapon or throw something. So we're doing unarmed attacks, obviously. Your strength modifier is added twice the damage and attack rolls. This means we're going to be hitting things like 95% of the time and dealing a lot of damage. We could also have left our constitution at 15. and then take it up there. There's also some items that will increase your constitution as well, so leave your constitution a little bit lower. I missed out on that one there. Since we are dropping strength and using strength potions, it gives that +8 to our strength attacks. Crazy strong with Tavern Brawler, which doubles it. So we get ourselves darkness here from being a drow, and then we also get ourselves that extra attack at level 5, so that's nice. And we also get the stunning strike, which can possibly stun a target. That's really nice. Again, replace spell if you want to try something else out while you're leveling this. And then we get another Disciple of the Elements. So we can get Embrace the Inferno, which is just, it's pretty nice to have that for range. Gong of the Summit damages all nearby creatures and objects. Creatures made of inorganic, such as stone, have disadvantage on their saving throws. Or Clench of the North Wind, hold an enemy still, they can't move or react. This is just hold person, but I think hold person is really nice to have. This is a concentration. There's not many concentrations that the monk has, and it's always good to have at least one concentration on the go at a time. So yeah, that is a really nice one just to have. But I also like Embrace the Inferno or Gong of the Summit can be pretty good choices as well. But yeah, this build gets crazy. It's kind of a mix between spellcaster as well as a, you know, in the face punchy type class. Additional key point, we get evasion, so your agility lets you dodge out of the way of certain spells. When a spell or effect would deal half damage on a successful dexterity saving throw, it deals no damage if you succeed and only half if you fail. If you're charmed or frightened, you automatically cast Still of Mind to remove the condition. That's nice. And again, yeah, if you want to swap out your spell, you can swap out spells. This build is wonderful for the fact that we still can use Tavern Brawler and use Flurry of Blows to make this strong. So for our next ability score, I would recommend doing an ability improvement, pumping our wisdom. We'll pretend that's 20 because you'll use the Hag's Hair likely on your wisdom for this build. I don't like leaving things at odd numbers, especially Constitution, but wisdom, we'll pretend is 20 with the Hag's Hair, and then you can make that even higher with the Mirror of Loss. It gives us more armor class, and then it helps out with our spell casting as well. Advanced unarmored movement, so that gives you additional 6 meters, and you can jump further. And then we can take another one of these spells. Gong of the Summon's not bad, and this pairs well against Storm Sorcerers, because Thunder and Lightning damage both get the increase on whenever you use a create water, so this can be very useful alongside other builds that I've done videos on. We also get the improved elemental casting. Your affinity with elemental chi deepens. Several of your offensive 4 elements deal an additional dice of damage, including Clench of the North Wind, can hold an additional creature. So hold person, holds another person. Really nice. And Embrace the Inferno fires an extra ray. So our spells here, that would fire 4 flaming rays. I still think that Gong of the Summit might be a little bit better, but you can take that as an option. And you can also use like Remove Spell at any time again to take different spell. We get Purity of Body, immunity to being poisoned. Movement speed increases 6 meters. As a drow, we already get the poison resistance, but yeah, it's nice to have it there. Additional cheat point. So level 10, we don't get much, but we're going to get our final feat and our final Disciple of the Elements here. So Flames of the Phoenix, this big fat fireball. This uses 4 chi points. What's nice is we can replace our chi a lot quicker than other types of monks. Mist Dance, which is decent for defense. A transfer to Mist Cloud it can't fall. Fit through small openings is very hard to damage. Ride of the Wind is pretty nice too. It does take an action as a concentration with 4 chi points, but you can fly around, making this build pretty crazy, honestly. Like, that is a very serious option for you. Fireball is just great, though. I think Fireball is my favorite choice, but being able to fly is useful too. So pick either of these two for our final level one there. It can get crazy. Mobility is everything, especially as a monk where you want to get up close to punch things. Even though this does have spell casting, we're still focused on punching often. We get another chi point here. And again, Flame of the Fire Snake there gives us that ability to do fire damage on our unarmed attacks, so that is quite nice. Now, for our final feat, there's a few different options that we can go with. I am a personal fan of always taking alert, +1 A +1 to your bonus, or a +1 bonus to your initiative is huge, so that can also help out with not being surprised, as being surprised in New Game Plus, it can be, or not New Game Plus, in Honor Mode can be an end game type situation. It'll just completely wreck you if you're surprised because you can't take an action. So that's a really nice option to go with. There's a few other options that we could potentially go with. Mobile is nice, gives you the ability to not provoke opportunity attacks, and movement speed increases with difficult terrain, doesn't slow you down when you dash. You can even go Ritual Caster and learn a couple rituals, since we do have a bit of spells. It's not the worst idea in the world, but I do think that probably Alert being the best one if you want to go that route, or ability improvement to take your constitution a little bit higher. Either one of those, whatever you think is more beneficial for you at the final level. We're going to get into the gear options here for the Way of the Four Monks, the Way of the Four Elements Monk. So Fangs of the Fire Snake, that gives you that extra fire damage. This also is what's nice is it adds any of your unarmed modifiers to the damage, so this counts as fist attacks. And since we have the Gloves of Soul Catching, which gives us a 1d10 of force damage on all attacks, as you can see, that gets that 1d10 of force damage. So it's really nice because a lot of these will benefit from the force. Flurry of Blows is still kind of our main damaging option. As you can see, 44 to 76 damage is incredible for a bonus action. Conjure Us. So with this, we want to use the Mask of Soul Perception. So this gives a +2 to attack rolls, initiative rolls, and perception checks. So overall, across the board, flat niceness. Increased perception is great to avoid being surprised. +2 to our attack rolls means you're going to be hitting your attacks more frequently. Deathstalker Mantle is a dirge only item, so once per turn when you kill an enemy, you become invisible. Also, the Shade Slayer Cloak to give you increased chance of critical hits is really nice. I like the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation. Whenever a wearer succeeds a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1 to 4 health points. Greater Kushigo Counter. The wearer can use a reaction to make an unarmed strike against any other attacker that misses. So if someone comes up and attacks you, misses, you get to go bang, punch them in the face. That's really nice. +2 to armor class. And as you can see, we got an 18 armor class. That's not too bad. We get that +4 from our wisdom. It would be +5 if we took the Hag's Hair, so don't forget to take that. +2 from dexterity. So if you have the Gloves of Dexterity are nice, but this is nicer. It gives us the 1d10 to force damage on every unarmed attack. Once per turn on unarmed hit, you regain 10 health points. Alternatively, you can forego healing to gain advantage on attack rolls, and +2 to our constitution. So 111 health, pretty nice. And then the Boots of Uninhibited Kashigo is really great. So what this does is the wearer deals additional damage equal to their wisdom modifier with unarmed strikes. Our wisdom modifier is pretty high. +5 if we were to take the Hag's Hair there to make this rounded off. It gets quite powerful. So you can see we got 27 strength, 15 dexterity, and then our wisdom is 19. It would have been 20, but I took the Hag's Hair on a different spell for this one, but we'll just pretend for the purpose of this video. You can also attach like something like the Gaunter Mail, which gives us the ability to cast Celestial Haste on herself. That's really nice just to have. A hasted monk can completely clear the battlefield. This only lasts 5 turns instead of 10, but if you have a sorcerer that can twin haste on you and itself, you're pretty much shutting it down with those two. Block of Shaping Ice can be pretty funny because you can create that ice and then it has some usefulness. It has 25 health. You can push it around. You can light it on fire to create water. Clench of the North Wind, we want to set up by concentrating on that. We have 12 chi points that we can regain with Harmony of Fire and Water for keeping our chi high, but this is really nice just to have that hold in place and automatic criticals, because then we can go in with Flurry of Blows and completely rock it out. So this build gets pretty crazy. You could alternatively take the last 3 levels and go into Thief Rogue and get that extra bonus action, do multiple Flurry of Blows, but I'll leave that for another video because this build is pretty interesting. But really, Flames of the Fire Snake is what you really want. You want to open up with Clench of the North Wind if you don't have someone else doing Hold Person, and then you'd follow up with this, which you can see 1d8 plus 20 bludgeoning damage, plus the 1d10 of force damage, plus the 1d10 of fire damage, and then your next attack is 1d4 of fire. So then you follow up with the Flurry of Blows, which will have an increased amount of damage there. Our ice block broke. But yeah, this gets crazy strong. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this build. The Way of the Four Elements is not the most popular monk, but it can be a really strong one. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.